800-488-4351.
Do you want me to put it on speaker now, or?
Thanks.
Yeah.
Oh, I forget how.
Who will assist you?
Tony, can you crack the window?
Thank you for calling Comstar. This is Lee. How may I help you?
Hi, this is Karen Garish calling from the town of Lebanon along with Selectman Thompson. We have a conference call scheduled with Scott and Rick.
Sure. Hold on one moment, please.
Thank you. Hi, this is Karen Garish calling from the town of Lebanon along with Selectman Thompson.
Hey Rick, how are you?
Good evening. How are you folks?
Good.
I'm just going to hold on for a second, please.
Okay.
I don't think it will go any further. Oh, boy, you ready?
I think so. Scott before was very loud.
Are you folks there?
Yeah,
Yes,
right here.
we're here.
Great.
We also want to let you know, present is our treasurer, Jeanette LeMay, and as of last evening, we have hired an interim rescue chief, Ray Parent. He's also here at the table, as well as members of the public.
Very good.
Is Scott there with you?
Yes, he is.
Okay.
How you doing?
Good, how are you?
Good.
Good.
I kind of just wanted to go through the 9 points on your letter that the board received on Tuesday. And I wanted to go over these one by one.
Okay.
So I'm going to read the numbers and then the A and the B, and then you can expand further.
That sounds good.
Okay. So on number 1, under Medicare revalidation, A, the action by Comstar. On November 1st, 2012, Comstar sent Lebanon a Medicare revalidation package by certified mail with returned receipt. The package consisted of a revalidation application and instructions. The application was filled out with the information Comstar had on file. Medicare is requiring all providers to complete this revalidation process to remain a Medicare provider. The deadline to submit the application was January 1, 2013. Action by Lebanon was the Medicare revalidation application was never returned to Comstar. Comstar attempted 14 separate times to contact Lebanon concerning this process. To date, 1 correspondence has been returned. Can you tell me the date of that? When you received the one?
I'd have to look into that. I don't have that date handy.
I'm wondering if it was the one that was referenced on the December meeting that they had said that they had just mailed out.
No,
No.
that wouldn't be the date, but we'd have to go back in our notes to find out what the nature of the one correspondence was.
So,
The one correspondence wasn't something that was actionable in terms of doing anything, but we got an acknowledgement. But we can look into our provider relations person's notes to find out what the nature of the response was and when it came in.
okay, because it was my understanding that it was stated that they did just do the revalidation with you, I want to say in November. I thought that was stated. So,
No, we haven't received. Typically, the process would be for us to receive the signed documents with the necessary attachments
revalidation, that isn't a package coming to us, correct?
Yes, they actually attempted to deliver yesterday. I believe folks are closed on Wednesdays.
Right, yep, okay,
Express, I checked tracking, it's en route. Whether they attempt to deliver today or not, I'm not sure.
okay, we'll probably have it tomorrow, that's good news. Okay, did you have anything, Chief, on that?
No.
Okay, number 2, sending PCRs to Comstar. Before we talk about that, can you explain what a PCR is?
PCR is a patient care report, also called an incident report. It will be the report prepared by the crew who attended to the patient.
Okay. So on sending the PCRs to the Comstar billing company, the action by Comstar, all Maine clients provide access to Comstar of the Memser State website. This used to download trip reports on a weekly basis to ensure all runs are billed in a timely fashion. Many providers have a short time frame to submit the runs from the date of service. Any runs submitted outside the guidelines would not be paid. Action by Lebanon. By its own choice, Lebanon Rescue submits a paper copy of runs to Comstar by the United States Postal Service. Lebanon Rescue has never allowed access to Comstar to their Memser website.
That's correct.
I had a bunch of notes on this one. How often do other towns submit? Did you say weekly?
That's correct. It varies based on volume. At your volume, we would recommend at least weekly.
And in this report, you're telling us that Lebanon Rescue has submitted 4 times in a year?
This past year, that's correct. Because what we do is part of our system here, regardless of how the PCIs are received, electronically, paper, whatever, we log everything in, both the date and the date range based on date of service of the documents or data files sent to us. So we took a look back at history. For the last year, it's been more like every 3 months, which is highly unusual. And we do follow up with clients who want sending their documents in what we would consider a timely manner. But this is the pattern the folks have established. It doesn't lend itself to good billing at all, either efficient nor in terms of return rate. It definitely hurts it.
And this, yeah, absolutely. It looks like it affects how much we're going to be able to collect.
Absolutely. It does raise questions as to the patient care reports aren't ready in that time frame. We've got a whole host of operating compliance issues as well, as far as when PCRs are supposed to be completed, delivered to hospital, to the state. And we made a recommendation regarding PCR control to get your arms around that and one of the other items. But certainly from a billing standpoint, key contributors to the drop-off in revenue. Prior to 2013, we were seeing it monthly. With a skip a month here or there, go back and look at the monthly reconciliation reports and see months where, from time to time in prior years, it would be a month where there was no new charges, meaning we didn't receive any PCRs. But for the most part, that would happen once a year.
Okay, so again, other municipalities generally bill out weekly.
Weekly is recommended. We can accept it. We will work on whatever schedule the client dictates. If you want to do it daily, that's fine with us. Get a little overkill at your volume, we would do it for you.
Okay.
So am I to understand C correctly that any runs after 9:30 are, in regards to some of the insurance companies, are going to expire in 15 days? Is that correct?
No, that's, no. We've received PCRs through 9:30.
Okay.
It's after that, Jeanette.
The
turn that around.
to turn it around.
Okay, got you. Thanks.
Have the insurance information, if we have to reach out to the, to a hospital location to get insurance information that it is obtained with the PCR, that could eat up any time. If it's there, we submit it right away. We're submitting claims daily out of all clients. Our turnaround time on PCRs is, from time of receipt to time the billing is started is 1-2 days max.
Yep. 48 hours, right?
Correct.
Yep. Okay, thank you.
Then file would be Medicare. It's the Medicare situation. Yeah, and I think, bear in mind, we've identified the worst case scenario, the shortest window. Medicare's window is 12 months.
Okay.
So, not everything's gonna time out, you know, I don't know, depends on the carrier.
So, how far behind are we on the Medicare?
At present, you have not been paid since June,
I know that.
which means, we have a number of claims, which anything that we've received through 9/30, any of those who are Medicare patients, those claims have been submitted. We can see online where the status is approved, but the payment is being held because folks are on Medicare payment hold.
Okay, I got you.
We gotta get that fixed, okay.
Okay?
Number 3, the disposition report. That's now coming to the treasurer. Comstar sends a request for disposition report to Lebanon monthly. Runs are, and that's the big issue, that's the missing piece that we hadn't been having. So, runs are placed on the report when an authorized billing steps are exhausted and the account remains unpaid. Given the comprehensive billing and collection steps performed by Comstar, once accounts reach this status, the collection of these accounts is doubtful for both accounting and cash management purposes. Action by Lebanon. Lebanon has not responded to this report since November 2008. At that time, a partial disposition was done. Notes I had on this, can we start this now? How far back can we collect? And then we get into this whole mess of, this subscription business, and the selectmen are gonna have to make a decision on these people who thought they were getting a ride in the ambulance for free. That's a bit of a mess, so, why don't you talk about your suggestion on disposition reports?
Well, the initial process, you put quite a cleanup to do. Every one of the folks need to make a disposition decision. One of those. The options are limited at this point. I'd say if you were interested in sending these accounts to, for advanced collection steps, we do have an advanced collection agency option. From a practical standpoint, anything over 18 months old, the outside collection agency is not going to be able to do anything with it, and really request that we don't send anything that old, and anything beyond 18 months.
Does the board have an option to send some things to collection and not others?
You folks, yes. As part of the disposition process, you would look at each account and decide which ones you want to send and which ones not. And then we would execute that disposition decision for you if it was sent to a collection agent. If you enroll in our option, we would do the send for you. I sent you some information on this option.
Right.
It's actually a separate firm. They're
showing that we can only go back about the 18 months. We need to get on a roll on that and make a decision on what we're gonna do. Okay. Point 4 is Maine Care. Action by Comstar. Lebanon was notified on July 25th, 2013 that Maine Care Medicaid was requiring our providers to go to an EFT instead of paper check system. Comstar sent all required forms to Lebanon Rescue to be filled out. Action by Lebanon. Lebanon Rescue has not responded despite several attempts. So I'm assuming that's also in this package coming to us to Jeanette.
Correct.
Okay, so we're gonna take care of that probably tomorrow when we get it. Number 5, questions to Lebanon. Action by Comstar. Anytime Comstar receives a trip report that does not have all the patient care info or ambulance run information, a form is sent to Lebanon called Question to Client. This form requires a response from Lebanon Rescue to clarify any outstanding issues with the run in question. Action by Lebanon. Lebanon Rescue has not yet returned the completed forms to Comstar. How many are we talking?
Currently, there is 7 runs outstanding. Of the 7 runs, 3 of the runs have expired for timely filing. So even if the question was answered, we would be able to bill. So they're kind of irrelevant. I'm sorry, there's 10 outstanding, not 7. The other ones, we can assemble and send the questions out. But most of the questions of those 10 are abatement requests for various reasons, which I won't discuss in public forum, but I can certainly put it in a document and send it off to you.
Okay, so you said 10 total, 3 expired?
Yep.
Okay.
Is that, how do we get copies of that? Can you email those or?
Yeah, they're sending.
They're in the package.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
They answered it for you.
6, ambulance rates. I think this is probably the one that bothered me the most. Action by Comstar. Comstar sends out a rate change form once a year in late December or early January. This form lists all current rates increased by Medicare and an area to increase the current rates of the town. Comstar also has an analyst program to review the current rates being paid by surrounding communities. Action by Lebanon. Lebanon has not returned the form or changed the ambulance rate since 2008. Lebanon has never requested a rate analyst form from Comstar, a rate analysis from Comstar. Well, questions I had are what are we billing, but I mean, I think, yeah, you gave us like what we should be billing. I guess you really can't answer that because it depends on the patient care, right? We just know that we're way behind the standard.
Well, I sent you it's called a rate,
The bundled rate transition worksheet?
correct.
Okay.
That shows the current Medicare rates. The next column is Lebanon's current rates, and the column next to that is a set of rates which are comparable to not only communities in your area, but they represent, on average, we have a little over 200 clients. More than 50 of those are billing at these rates.
copy of the newsletter? Do we have a copy of the newsletter?
No, but I've seen it online.
Actually,
okay.
it's emailed in, a link is emailed in, I go to the select board is on that list,
Okay.
along with your treasurer. So it's a link to our website, all the newsletters and the history of our newsletters since I started doing them, sometime in early 2000, are in an archive on our website, so you can see prior correspondence that would have been sent out either email or in the early days we were mailing.
Since our December 5th meeting, I have gone on your website and I've looked at a lot of those. I have seen those there. I just also wanted to make one more point just on this ambulance rates, just so it was clear, because we have a lot of public here and may not be able to hear, but I want to read C, the status. The current rates are 100 to 200% below what surrounding communities are being paid by insurance carriers. So I just wanted to clarify, because insurance companies are willing to pay up to a certain amount, and that's not being utilized right now.
Correct. I think the term willing is better that other ambulance services are submitting at that rate, are getting reimbursed. That's what the carriers are expecting. And they see a lower bill from you folks or anybody else for that matter. It really enriches the carrier. It does not benefit. It does not hold rates down. It doesn't work like auto insurance where if you don't have any claims, you can conceivably garner a lower rate for yourself. Health insurance is rated on large pools, and so everybody who's paying premiums, this opportunity for reimbursement is a result of the premiums you're paying. What's useful to explain is if you increase your rates, is that going to create an out-of-pocket expense for your patients? For the vast majority of them, the answer is no. Their payment, if any, is based on a fixed copay under their carrier plan. And the Medicare or Medicaid patient, their copays are fixed based on what Medicare allows. So a very, very small percentage may get a larger bill, basically those who are uninsured or underinsured. And you could certainly use your compassionate abatement policy for those who can't pay a copay or so forth. Vast majority of this, over 98% of your increase will be coming from the insurance carriers. You can think about it as money on the table that either goes to them or goes to your town.
Okay. Number 7, ambulance PCR count, action by Comstar. Comstar receives only the ambulance PCRs that Lebanon sends to us for billing. Action by Lebanon. Lebanon prints the trip reports from the Memzer website and mails a copy to Comstar for billing. I actually want to go on to read letter C on status, particularly regarding the call volume here in town. There seems to be a discrepancy on the amount of ambulance calls being reported on the Lebanon Rescue blog and what are being sent to Comstar for billing purposes. I'm going to stop there. What are you referencing by the Rescue blog?
It is,
Is that a Facebook page? Is it a website?
the Lebanon Rescue Corporation. And this is more in making comment here and a recommendation. I'm going to call this Ambulance Service 101 from an operations administration standpoint. We want to account in total for all the incidents. And it's a matter of reconciling all the events that are recorded by your dispatcher. They all should result in
finish that section C, for, the public here. The number in the blog, which is, I believe, the Facebook page, is significantly higher than what we have received from Lebanon Rescue for billing. Even if you apply a 70% factor, to the total call volume being discussed, this raises the possibility that the call volume is being overstated. A PCR is not being completed for each call, or PCRs are being lost somewhere in progress. In your suggested correction section, you mentioned that you have qualified personnel on staff to support us in this effort at no additional charge. So I'd like to ask Selectman Thompson, I feel we should take advantage of that service immediately.
Absolutely.
So how do we sign up for that?
That would be something Scott would handle, our general manager. We can talk offline about setting up dates and times to, we can either come up and visit with you folks, we can orchestrate it in any way, but I think probably at some point we want to come up and look at the systems in place, talk to the folks who are doing the administration, be able to quickly assess what's there, what isn't there, based on industry best practice, and then make some recommendations based on, again, on industry best practice, what controls there, or we might be just confirming that no, these things are there. You know, that's the scope of what we would do. And at the end of the day, you then have framework that you can manage to, and identify some control points of your own that you can check to ensure over time that what's set in place is actually being done. The verification stage, that would be the next step. Once you confirm what's there, fill it, do any do a gap analysis if you would, and then once corrective action, if any is needed, is taken, then establish some control points that are going forward periodically. They can be checked to ensure that it's being done the way you expect. You don't want to have to micromanage this situation. You're going to delegate to your rescue chief, and but it's always good to have control points at every point of the way. Kind of trust but verify.
All right, we're gonna have Chief Parent call you sometime in the next, I don't know, holidays and all. We'll have him call you and talk about this PCR count.
Great.
Okay.
In our scope of review, we can go as broad as you'd like us to in terms of taking a look at the operation, and that's something that you can discuss with Scott. Obviously, we'll work to whatever scope he would like us to do, whatever we can do to help.
Yeah, I have it.
I will email you that information tomorrow, Ray.
I won't have to wait after the first one. I'm retired. I can call him anytime.
Yeah, he's kind of ambitious, this one.
Yeah, he's been here. We're really happy to have him.
Okay. Number 8, process review and billing policies, action by Comstar. Comstar offers a very comprehensive set of billing and collection options to all clients. At the inception of our service, presented Comstar's available billing and collection steps for Lebanon's review and approval. Action by Lebanon. Lebanon selected and approved the billing and collection steps to be performed by Comstar prior to the inception of our service in May 2006. Lebanon has not changed this setup since inception. Is that typical?
Yes. Most clients at the outset ask us to do all the billing and collection steps we have available. And that's what you folks did. The only I sent up it's labeled as Lebanon Rescue Town of Lebanon, Maine, ambulance billing and collection process outline. For audit purposes, you could call this your billing and collection policy. This is what was approved, what was presented and ultimately approved back in 2006. Things we do there's a few things that we offer that you folks aren't utilizing right now. To review this entire process, because one of my comments is, and it's not a criticism,
this relationship with you, nothing has come to the town. It's gone to the Cole residents. Everything's been mailed there, and I think that's part of the problem on why maybe the selectman wasn't aware of what was going on. I don't know. But by all means, please do.
The first step in the process is we will receive the PCR. After we receive a PCR, we are going to verify all the information we've received. Addresses, if there is insurance information, we will contact the carrier and verify the insurance information is in force. It's called the pre-billing function. It is a point where we're making sure that all the information necessary to submit a clean claim is there. If there isn't, we will go about the steps necessary to fill in that missing information. If it's something that we need directly from the service, that's when we issue a question to the service themselves to ask for that information. Once we have all the necessary information with insurance, Comstar is submitting claims directly to all carriers electronically. We submit to Medicare, Medicaid, and Blue Cross directly from our server to theirs. For all the other hundreds of insurance companies, we use a clearinghouse, which allows us electronic access to virtually all insurance carriers. There are a small handful that still require paper claims. For those, we obviously take care of a paper. There are some government insurances that still require paper. Times of work, labor, is a paper submission. We handle that, and I discussed the 1 to 2 day turnaround time for once a claim is, all information is obtained, is submitted. If we come across a situation where we don't have the insurance information, we have many search mechanisms. Again, part of our pre-billing process, and we will search to see if we can identify the insurance information. We will reach out to the receiving hospital, see if they have any additional information that wasn't obtained by the crew the time they drop the patient off. If all those things don't pan out, we would then submit the first of what would be 3 bills to the patient. A full bill with an insurance questionnaire on the back, and the patient has the option to fill out that questionnaire and return it to us with their insurance information. They can go online in a secure section of our website, enter their insurance information online, and they can also call our 800 number and give it to us that way. And those correspondents go out. If there is no response to those 3 bills, we then send a collection letter. And if there is no response to that correspondence, at that point, the account would be put on the request for disposition report. At that point, we would have exhausted all the billing collection steps available.
So you only send one collection letter?
That's correct.
Is there an option for more, or do you, when I talked to somebody on the phone one day, they said it would depend on our contract. So is that your standard operating procedure, that you send one collection letter?
That's correct.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah, the sending of multiple collection letters, they've already received
3.
I know.
Yeah.
correspondence. If a client asks us to do it, I would consider it, but at that point, really spinning our wheels.
Yeah.
And wasting time and money. If that person has the means and has not responded to 4 correspondence, the best option for you to get collection is if they have the funds, but just for some reason
number 9. Motor vehicle insurance, action by Comstar. Approximately 2 years ago, Comstar instituted a new program to obtain motor vehicle insurance for patients transported from motor vehicle accidents. Comstar has sent out newsletters, emails, and made phone calls inviting clients to participate in the program. Action by Lebanon. Lebanon has not participated in this program. Go on to say the program's a big success and it increased the funds collected by the towns for motor vehicle accidents. The program is a joint effort from police and ambulance and is completely administered by Comstar. Do we have materials coming to us on that as well in this package to sign up for that program?
There's no real materials to this. It is that in order to set up a relationship, what we're talking about here is getting access to the accident reports completed by the police department. Typically, they're recording all the driver information, including if it's an insured driver, they get the insurance information. From a billing standpoint, in an automobile accident, health insurance will not pay until automobile insurance has been billed and exhausted. Then, health insurance becomes secondary insurance. And you need to bill typically the insurance of the driver. So we don't have access to police reports.
Right.
What the program is we work through you to establish that mechanism, whether the police department agrees to give that information to the town directly and then you forward it to us, or you simply open the door for us to, as far as who we will submit our direct requests, and we can make direct requests to the police department. But typically, they're not going to respond to us they will not respond to us if we just call on our own. We need the town's support there to establish that working relationship with the police department.
The board can arrange that. We have Maine State Police coverage, and Ben and I will chase that down and make sure that gets arranged.
It really, at the end of the day, it usually how the mechanism works. It depends on what you folks decide and how the police, or whether it's the local or state police, are agreeable to work. They might work directly with us. In that case, your work ends with making the introductions.
Okay.
Arrangement. They may want you to stay in the middle and say, "Oh, we'll give it to you," and then you can do whatever you want with it.
I see.
Whatever mechanism works for you folks, we will work with.
All right. All right. What else?
One other thing was that I had contacted you guys yesterday. We actually made a phone call last night with our interim chief present. We need to get him on the system for Comstar, and I didn't hear anything back today. We need to add him to the access list.
That would be fine. If you folks would just send us an email with the chief's full name, contact information, email address, phone number. We will add him as a person who is obviously call and ask for reports. Chief, should he also be on distribution for the monthly report package?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, we will add that to our setup, and that will start immediately.
Great.
It does raise a question for us. Is the interim rescue chief Trey Parent, correct?
Correct.
Yes.
Is he now our primary day-to-day contact? That's kind of up in the air right now for us, just for day-to-day operations.
He's meeting with Samantha Cole tomorrow, and I imagine they're going to iron that out and talk about that. She has a week left, week and a half. But it was important to us, the town, to have him on all aspects of the Comstar.
So if we have a question, if we need to communicate on a billing matter
would say until January 1st, probably Jeanette LeMay in the office here. She's gonna be the easiest one to get a hold of, and then from that point forward, it'd be Ray Parent.
Great.
I'll hunt them down.
Yeah.
And so,
Awesome. We really appreciate that. We will document that in our system and
all you needed on Ray was what? Just the name? I'm sending the email to Scott right now.
yeah, his full name, phone number, email address.
Okay, perfect.
On our end, just to so we're all clear, Scott, I've asked Scott to indefinitely to be the primary day-to-day contact for all billing matters as far as Comstar and the town are concerned.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, Scott. Thank you, Rick.
Yeah, and obviously we want to keep this very visible to make sure that the type of progress that you folks are hoping to make happens.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's
No,
not happening.
we're looking to try to
Contacts.
collect as much as we possibly can before we have to go to, the taxpayers to pay down some of this and, anything that we can collect. And that actually brings me to my next point. Can we talk about, let's talk about that sheet if I can get my hands on it. I want to make sure that we're all clear understanding that. I can't seem to get my hands on it. Thank you.
No, I think that's it.
Oh, it's in here.
Also, if I may, wanted to reiterate a conversation that I had with Scott. Jeanette was also involved earlier. I think it was this week or last Friday. I lose track. But we had asked if there were any other accounts receivable submitted recently, and I think the number is still 171,000 is what has been submitted to date, or where they were still waiting to get paid on.
71 in change, I don't have the 18.
Yeah, so there was nothing. I just wanted that on public record here as well, that there was nothing else submitted.
We have not received anything that was reported on the last closing that I sent you at the beginning of the week.
Yep.
Which is the same number that I reported on December 5th, correct? I believe it is. Let's just go with that. For a public record.
Yep, I can't verify what was reported on that.
Nope. Thank you. Did you get that, Karen?
Yep, I did get it, and I was just gonna ask you, you mailed to come here though, right? Your mail's gonna come here.
We can do that
What are you
later.
gonna do?
I'm gonna give him email and your phone number.
While she's
Doesn't
working
need
on
this.
that, I just have a question, Scott and Rick.
Yes.
How often does something show up on the disposition report? So once we get this cleaned up, I know to expect information to come through every 3 months, once a month. How often does that usually take place?
The disposition report would be distributed monthly with the reconciliation package. There's 2 reports that go out on the
Yep.
request for disposition. One would be the items that have been put on that disposition for that accounting period, and then a cumulative to-date report. Ultimately, if you're cleaning it up month by month, the cumulative to-date report would always be 0, and you'd just be looking at the cumulative to-date report would equal what your monthly report is. So there's 2 separate reports. You can see what has transitioned to the request for disposition for that particular accounting period or month, and then what's building up. So if it's addressed once a quarter by your selectmen or the chief, or once a month, you can see those figures. But you receive those once, just like you always have, once a month with the reconciliation package. It's part of the package.
Okay, so even though it hasn't changed for like 3 months, when I looked back, that just means that we don't have anything that's being reported to that report, because it would happen monthly, correct?
Yes, correct.
Okay, thank you.
Alright,
Hold over this one.
yeah. Alright, the summary of collectible AR as of December 15th, 2013. We're gonna go down to the AR balance as of 12/15/13. It's $165,864.15. The cumulative request for disposition report, these are the doubtful accounts.
Let me just interject, because this kind of answers the question I just asked a couple minutes ago too, is received and billed is 9/30/13, and I thought that was the date we had discussed the other day, so there has been no more accounts receivable added to that since September 30th.
No, they haven't.
That was a no, correct?
Yeah, he said no, there hasn't.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm just trying to absorb that.
Yep. Well, it's being reported that there has been several tens of thousands of dollars that's recently been submitted, and that is not true. Is all I'm bringing out to public record. Since the last, our
Well,
December
that's what I'm
5th
sitting
meeting.
here thinking about, because we were told that 40,000 just came in.
Yeah,
No.
that's
Talk
not
about
true.
something different.
On December 5th, I reported to you that your receivables were $171,000 and some change. And while we were at that meeting, it was in I think sometime thereafter, it's been reported, that we have another 40,000 coming in, we have another this coming
What
in.
you're thinking about is actually the revenue, the 38,000 that came in as revenue. Then we turned around and made the ambulance payment, so that readjusted the numbers.
Right.
But it's being reported online that additional another 40,000, which is what has been billed out just recently, which is not true.
Okay.
And I wanted to make that clear to the
Yeah.
public.
Yeah,
We're still dealing with the December 5th
And these
receivable.
documents, this document that we're talking about, the summary of collectible AR is in the public hands right now, so at least now we're all gonna be on the same page. So the estimated, the cumulative request for disposition report, the doubtful accounts as of December 15th is $97,409. Estimated collections for PCR with dates of service in October and November 2013 using historical results from 2012 is 13,400. So estimated collectible accounts 81,854.26. The above is the best case scenario, given the age of the PCRs, once received by Comstar, and the very tentative status of the Medicare provider relationship at this point. We recommend discounting this number by 25%, which brings us down to the $61,390.70. Correct?
Yes.
So the $61,390.70 is, in your opinion, the best case of what we're gonna be able to get.
Yes.
That's out of what is owed. So that would be the 171,000 from December 5th, less anything that you've collected.
I rolled this forward from the last close, which was done on 12/15.
Correct. There was a 171,000 that we had at the December 5th meeting just for our public. And then 4,600 and some change was collected, which leaves us with a receivable of 165,864. And that's where that number's coming from for public record. Okay.
Well, that's disappointing, but I guess I have to look at it that it's better than, I guess it could be worse, but.
I think one point that I make in some of the cleanup of making timely dispositions, you always, and Jeanette knows this from an accounting standpoint, you want your age trial balance to reflect what you can expect to collect. And if the maintenance of the account is not done, misunderstandings, either purposeful or otherwise, can occur because there's a large number on the balance sheet. This number is the
of this that we got is because the disposition has just grown and grown and grown and snowballed. So it's obviously turned into a big problem. What, maybe I'm missing something, but what is, say, the percentage of collections on dispositions done on a monthly basis? I mean, if we can send those at that point to collections, and I mean, is there a certain percentage you would say that, I mean, like right now, we're out of that 97,000, we're not going to collect a whole lot of that. But if it was done on a monthly basis and kept up to date, would you say 50%, 60% at that point would be collected, or not?
3 to 5%.
Oh, we're talking 3 to 5%.
That's it? Okay, I just wanted to clarify. Yep. Even at that point, still done on a monthly basis. Okay.
The collection rates that we're experiencing with a typical client, the collection rate on insurance on insured folks is in the mid 90% range, and the collection rate for the uninsured much lower.
Yeah.
It could range anywhere from 10 to 20%. So your average rates for collection depend on how big that uninsured group is. The collection performance on this account was in the low 90s up until about a year ago, when I guess I can step back and look and see that the flow of information became so sporadic.
Yep.
And then the Medicare issue really just, it's not lost revenue. Medicare's holding maybe close to 20 grand of your money right now, which move forward and get back in good standing, those funds should come to. What to avoid is them just shutting you off as a provider altogether. I honestly don't know what happens to the funds owed if that happens. You have to basically go to them as a new provider. So getting that provider package submitted, it may take some time for them to reactivate and stop making payments, but at least it will stop the progression of your account towards total dissolution. It's not that it couldn't be restarted, but I honestly don't know what will happen to the funds due from the prior period.
In my experience, you have to file for an appeal.
It's uncharted as far as I'm concerned. We've never had a client get to that point. We've really never had a client that's gone this far into the payment hold situation. We've successfully transitioned over 200 clients through this revalidation process, and the typical time frame is 6 to 8 weeks. And most of that time is the waiting time on Medicare once you submit the forms.
Yeah.
A very, in general, quick turn process where we do all the paperwork, show you where to sign, and all you need to do is pull some documents that should be readily available at the service, licenses and so forth. It's not an onerous process, but it is a government process. It can take a little time, but we're talking weeks, not months. And I heard it described as a very comprehensive and onerous process. It's not. It's one that just needs to be executed.
Well, we're looking forward to the package that's going to come here in Ben's name, so he gets to do it all.
You'll find that the signer does need to provide their identification, social security number. I want to let you know that that is for identification purposes only, and they also the person who signs as the operating manager of the entity, they check their database to see if that individual has ever had an issue, been disqualified from Medicare participation. It does not put you in any way responsible for the operating entity or things like that from a financial standpoint. It's really a fraud prevention mechanism. In the municipal world, it's kind of unusual. It's unnecessary. It's not terribly necessary. But in the private sector, people go out of business on one name and then pop up as another. The social is how Medicare sort out the repeat fraud and abusers.
remember about a year or two ago, the ACLU was trying to go after that, but they've been unsuccessful in that regards.
Yeah,
I can put it under mine if you want it on mine. Everything else is.
Chief Parent, do you have anything else?
I'm quite aware of what's going on. I understand
I'm
the
quite
whole
aware
process.
too.
I'd just like to reach out to you guys and say thank you very much for reaching out to us and being as friendly with us as you have and helpful as you have, because you guys have definitely been on the ball and got us caught up to date rather quickly, and we appreciate that.
Start again tomorrow.
but you know, we do value our relationship with the town. Some of the comments that were made in the 12-5 meeting that was on the internet, frankly, I became aware when one of my clients in the area called, said, Rick, I've watched this thing. What I've heard said, I know you, I know your firm. That's not you, but it's being said. And I thank him for letting me know. But one thing that he did mention to me was, Rick, I'm good. We think you folks are doing a fantastic job. However, my town is now questioning the integrity of your firm because of what they heard. They don't know me. They don't know my firm. They don't know its 20-plus year reputation. And I had to actually answer some questions to other clients because of the comments made during that meeting. I can demonstrate with objective evidence that they were all inaccurate. But my reputation, my company's reputation has been harmed. It's one of the most valuable assets we have. I want to continue to work with the town, but I would like some acknowledgement from the town that, you know, those statements, were not accurate.
Yeah, absolutely.
Representative of how you feel. If nothing else, it will be something that your fellow selectmen in other towns can read and understand that, okay, some have already done their due diligence and called me and asked.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I've had to answer some questions that I probably shouldn't have had to answer, but I was in the issues, I'd ask them too. But unfortunate that when the ketchup comes out of the bottle, you can't put it back in.
Mm-hmm.
Just try to clean up the mess as best you can. Gonna stick with you folks. I've never walked away from a client. At the end of the day, I work for the citizens of Lebanon, and you are their trustees. They're the folks that put trust in you to manage their affairs for them. But that's who we work with. We only work with municipalities. That's our little niche of business. So I would ask you folks consider making some type of public statement that expresses your opinion, whether you stand behind the statements that were made during that meeting or not.
Mm-hmm. We can absolutely, do a written statement, but I'll say publicly right now, on behalf of the board,
Absolutely.
on behalf of the 2/3 of the board that are here right now,
And I think the residents of Lebanon as well.
exactly,
There's-
the people of this town, they're not stupid and they understand what's going on here. This is not an issue at all with Comstar Billing Company. And that's evident.
Thank you.
Well, and it's not enough, Ben and I can draft something.
Absolutely, and on behalf of the town and the damage that was done to you and your reputation, I mean, I apologize. I wasn't the one that said it, but I will come out and apologize to you because obviously it's not true. I mean, we've had situations where we've had zip files even delivered to us over emails, and we had to call for passwords, and within 2 minutes we had the password.
Yeah.
You guys are very efficient and very helpful.
And we appreciate
That,
it.
I look forward to moving onward and upward with you folks.
It will be a more positive atmosphere for sure. We promise that.
Rick, I would just like to say, if you have any problems, any concerns, or Scott, please call either myself or Sue Collins. We can get word to the selectmen, and I'm more than happy to do that.
Excellent, yep, that'll work.
Okay.
And Ben and I, this is Karen, Ben and I are always on email. If you know, just shoot us an email. We usually respond, during the day. We have it on our phones. And again, just, I wholeheartedly appreciate that the fact that you're even still willing to work with us after this mess. And I'm very grateful on behalf of the town.
Very much.
All right, thank you, gentlemen.
And
Good night.
I'll twist their arms for you. Don't worry.
Thank you. Bye.
Ray, did you see on the last page you have Scott's email address?
This lady was quite nice in pointing that out to me.
I didn't want to jump over the telephone and show it to you, so I made a note. Tell Ray last page.
I was looking at it going.
Are we gonna get him an email for here?
Yeah, I thought of that tonight. Well,
Do you want me to contact